Do you guys remember this?
Or this?
And this?
And this?
Now get ready for this.
And this? So let's take a look at the first culprit in the current age of clones that we live in. The Vekoma boomerang.
When this was first introduced, I mean, it grabbed the public's attention. I mean, it was all the rage. It was something different. I mean, the age of the aerodynamic with the simple design metal track. This one was more complicated. The era of the cheap coasters has arrived. I remember when this was first introduced to the Six Flags lineup in 2015. You guys remember the commercial? Go forward, go backward, six inversion. You see all the women's hair on top of the loop hanging down. It looks so cool. So like, oh man, this is probably a great ride. When this was first introduced in 2015, it caught our attention. It was just something totally different.
Yeah, you had 6 inversions and 2 beyond 90-degree drops.
Yeah, it was just, oh man, it was like, we gotta do this. Let's travel to Fiesta, Texas.
Right, it was an incredible ride whenever you first saw it.
Folks, we are in the heart of the cheap clone and coaster era. First, let's look at the Boomerang, which was introduced in the mid-'80s. As of right now, a lot of parks, Cedar Fair and Six Flags, has removed a lot of these or sent to their smaller parks.
Or they're being sold off and sent to different piers
park,
around, the small pier parks that, out on the beaches.
This year alone, Cedar Fair has removed Stinger, and Larsen has removed Cobra. So these rides are actually very few and far in between now. Now let's look at the Larsen loopers. I think we're coming into the end of this era. I mean, yes, Six Flags Great America installed 100-footers, but I don't see this continue. For a ride that's not very old, it's relatively unpopular with the public. I mean, like Six Flags, for example, we went to all these Six Flags Park this spring. A lot of them was not open.
Yeah, in 2015, you saw these things pop up everywhere. I mean, it was like the invasion of the Larsen Loop. And Six Flags likes to consider these coasters, and they're really not. They're just rides. A flat ride. And they're a bad flat ride. It just spins you around and round and round, and basically it's just a big puke machine is what it is.
Yeah, painful.
Yeah, and it's painful.
I'm afraid this too will follow the path of the Boomerangs. In 5-6 years, these major parks are going to tear this down and send it to their cheaper parks again, or sold it to the piers.
Well, the problem is the cheaper parks already have them, so you can't ship them off to your smaller parks. Yeah, they'll sell some of them to the piers, I think, but mostly I think these will end up on a scrap heap somewhere.
Yeah, this just makes the park look bad. You got a collection of all these smaller coasters in one area. It just makes the park look bad. Next, let's look at the 4D free spin. Yeah, when it was first introduced, it fascinated us, but this too has too many clones. It's at almost every Six Flags park.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Green Lantern at Magic Mountain, which is basically the same ride, but it's
made by a different company.
It's made by a different company. That one's rough and horrible as well. But
but this, I mean, if they would be more creative, it's too short in duration. I mean, you spin a few times and the ride is done. And I think, the public just, wait so long to ride this and it's over in less than a minute. It's just, no variation. It's not the creativity is not there in design.
Well, the creativity was there in design. The problem is that they saturated the market.
There's no uniqueness to it.
Yeah, there's no uniqueness to it. You go to any different Six Flags and there's a 4D free spin there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
And Six Flags is guilty of this, cloning all the rides all over the place. The public, too, is tired of this coaster. I mean, we went to Six Flags Great Adventure. Never have to wait more than 5-10 minutes. It's just... The public, I think, is just like, we're done with this. Now, let's look at the Skywarp, the new era we are entering. One has been installed in Six Flags chain in Six Flags Discovery. What's your thought on this, Tom?
I think also went to... they also got one at Cedar Fair, too, in one of their parks. I'm not sure. I don't remember which one. Maybe not.
Not yet. But my opinion, I think this, too. It's going to be like the Fireball. I mean, it's a one-trick pony. You go around circle 8 over and over again. It's going to lose its fascination real quickly. What do you think, Tom?
I totally agree. I think that this is one of those things that's very inexpensive to build.
And very gimmickable.
And it's very gimmicky. You'll see them pop up all over. This will be one that'll be cloned in almost all of the parks as well.
It looks like two fireballs connect to each other. But
and in 10 years you'll see them at you'll see it at Santa Monica Pier, and you'll see it at all the other pier parks.
I don't know. It's just it's new, but I think it just looks awful. I mean, I just hope they don't put all these rides in the same place in the park. It's just gonna make whatever section that is look bad.
So now let's take a look at the last what we think is going to be a major clone.
RMC Raptor.
The RMC Raptor. Six Flags got the first one down at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas.
I just hope they don't clone this like Batman. When Batman first came into it was an awesome ride. Now it's just everywhere. But this one is restricted. It's a one track, and it's limitation in design. You have to pretty much prefabricate this in factory and assemble it whatever park.
Well, yeah, but I mean, most coasters are kind of like that.
No.
But this one, the problem with this one is the capacity on the train.
Eight riders at a time.
You get 8 riders per cycle.
It's okay for small city, but not for major parks.
Yeah,
for big city parks like New York or L.A. Man, the line would be 5 hours waiting.
Yeah, it's just too small for a large park. I think you'll see these pop up at like St. Louis. I think would probably get one. The smaller parks that have the lower populations. Those are the ones.
I don't know how much this costs, but they said this is not cheap. But it's just.
Yeah, I don't think that this is necessarily a small investment. I mean, I think that these are pretty expensive to build.
Yeah, RMC is not cheap.
RMC is not cheap. Yeah,
but we're all waiting for the T-Rex.
I would imagine that the B&M inverted for Batman was not cheap either.
No,
but we still have too many of those. But
this is just for me. It seems very restrictive. What it can do,
Yeah, I think they say they have the different variations of it. I think we'll see other variations of this one come out. I think you might even see one as kind of a dive coaster.
The other thing that's annoying with Six Flags is that they name all their coasters, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, and Joker.
And Harley Quinn.
They have over 100 characters they can name after. Two-Face, Hawkgirl, Hawkman, the Apaches, the Samurai. Stop naming them all Wonder Woman. The thing that's different with this ride is that this RMC Raptor doesn't take that much footprint. It's just very compact, and at least Batman's spread out over a wide range of land. This one's just in 10-20 years, it's just gonna look like a clunk of metal in the middle of the park.
Well, it's kind of the same with
these
poltergeist, the spaghetti balls.
Yeah, all these cheap coasters. Yeah, it's just if they spread that all over the park, it's fine. But if you put a collection of these cheap coasters in the area, it don't look good. So, folks, in closing, unfortunately, this is the trend of mostly Six Flags. you know, they were a little reluctant to invest in a big coaster that's $40-50 million, which doesn't bring that much more new patron to the park. So they're going to this cheaper route where they get these cheap coasters for a couple million, 6-7 million. Their expectation is that it's gonna last 6-7 years, and then they remove it. You know, it's basically economical for them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that Six Flags has this idea that it's not really the huge coasters that are going to bring people into the park. It's the amount of rides. It's the amount of experiences, new experiences, new thrills that they can give people. I mean, if you look at it, a lot of the parks are getting those flat ride packages. You're getting the giant Discovery disc.
But I think those have longer duration. Those the giant disc will last longer than these cheap coaster. I mean, I like this giant disc, and people are gonna ride that, and the gyro top spin. I don't think that's gonna last as long as the giant disc.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think they should have stuck with the original tops.
But it's new, yeah.
Yeah, this is just it's the new one-trick pony. Yeah, I mean, even Cedar Fair. I mean, yeah, they're investing in new coasters at some of their parks, but for the most part, their smaller parks, they get a flat ride.
Right, yeah. They're selective. Cedar Fair will, will put 1 or 2 new coaster every year at different parks, but
yeah, I mean,
the smaller parks usually get flat rides, and that's, I don't know.
Yeah, Cedar Fair doesn't clone a lot of their rides, but they do.
They're guilty of shoving these parks. They don't want to invest big money with flat rides, like
Worlds of Fun. They
hasn't had a coaster in 13 years, and Carowind's gonna get 2 coasters in 4 years.
And Canada's Wonderland is supposed to get a world record, a record holder.
It's just they're not spreading the wealth evenly there.
So, folks, that's going to do it for today. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you agree with us, give us a like and subscribe. And feel free to comment in the comments section.
This is T.
And I'm Tom, and we're Show Me Coasters. And we'll see you the next time.
We're signing off.
Have a good night.